Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
You're cold as ice, and you're willing to sacrifice brown lives. You're a parasite, but someday you'll pay the price. I know. I've seen the news, it happens all the time. You're kicking in doors 'cause you're mean and white. Been wanting to hurt folks all of your lives. You're Confederate assholes in disguise. You know that you are. You fascist parasite. You're as cold as ice.
It's my wife and her friends for their week-long birthday party. Pretty normal, actually. But thought I'd get out here while we're still here. We're leaving soon. Just mention all this ICE stuff going on. And the Psyop that happened with that Renee Good. And of course at this point, any sort of major event that's all over the media that everyone's talking about, it's all over the algorithms, that is usually to do with something that the government's doing, you'd have to be a complete and total fool to just take it at face value as it actually happened, how it appeared. Like, just look at, we got years and years of this now. Just almost every major event turns out to be not what they say it is. And it's actually set up, and it's actually all planned out and scripted. It's almost like there's producers and directors and the main actors.
We write the screenplay, we're the directors, we're the producers, we're the main actors, and the world is our stage.
What if I told you this whole Renee Good situation was staged? What if I told you Renee Good was married twice before being with her partner? And what if I told you her first husband is in the Air Force? And what if I told you her first husband now works for the Department of Defense? Now, what if I told you those Kansas City college books had nothing to do with her? That she actually graduated from Old Dominion in Virginia? Look it up, they even wrote a thing for her. What if I told you, even if you pay for it, you can't look up that license plate and see who it's registered to? And her partner was such a good crisis actor. What if I told you they knew that this was gonna start protests and riots? And that's what they wanted. What if I told you today, January 15th, Donald Trump threatened Insurrection Act on Minnesota? Sounds planned. There's too many connecting dots here. I mean, a lot of connecting dots here. Quite the history. Should really do the research on the history of this woman, because it's not adding up with what they're telling us. People and entities can be very calculated. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a creator. This could be for entertainment purposes only. Or it's not.
Now that isn't obviously 100% proof that was all staged, but it is interesting and people are gathering information now, which is great. That's all the stuff that me and James Corbett and Dan Dix and people like that always were doing in the past. And now there's hundreds of people or thousands or tens of thousands on TikTok and stuff. That's why they're trying to control it all. It's actually really great. This is a massive awakening that people actually look into these things now. And like I said, that's not 100% proof that they were all in on it. But it is interesting, right? You can't look up that license plate. She actually lived in Virginia, home of the CIA. Her first husband, even though I think she acts like she's gay or something, is in the Department of Defense. It's all the fingerprints, all the usual fingerprints. But like Max Egan says, and I've said, it doesn't really matter too much. Actually, it doesn't really matter at all. The exact details. What you have to realize is what's actually going on, and this is a massive, massive takeover of the world enslaving, sickening, and killing basically everybody on behalf of this mimic field. And of course, all the people that are in that mimic field that are controlled by it. And that's the important stuff. But this ice stuff has definitely been very interesting. Like this looks like insane, especially in Minnesota. Interesting place that they kind of chose to kick it all off. Of course, that was the place that they kicked off the last one with the George Floyd riots. And now they're doing it again with this stuff. And it's been incredible to see so many of the videos that have been coming out. And one of the worst ones was what appeared to be, and again, you can't take any of this stuff at face value. With AI now, with the propaganda, like, it's so hard to tell what's real at all. And then on top of that, none of it's real. This isn't real. I'm not real, you're not real. But a lot of you probably can't understand that or get that yet, which is fine. Everyone in their own time. But yeah, it's so hard. But if this is real, it looked like it was a black guy with his family with like 6 kids or something. And according to the story, and again, who knows, right? Who knows? He was near a protest and he was trying to get away from it and try to go to where he lived, which was in the area, if I understand it correctly. And ICE threw a flash bang grenade with like pepper spray and stuff right into his car with all his kids.
ICE started throwing flashbangs and tear gas under the vehicle, and he said that his 6-month-old stopped breathing.
Officers threw flashbangs and tear gas in my car and made I got 6 kids in the car. But my 6-month-old can't even breathe. My 2-year-old then flipped out the damn car. This was flipped over. My car filled with tear gas. I'm trying to pull my kid out the car.
And notice too, he was saying he can't breathe, which is exactly what they said with the George Floyd stuff. They also tried to basically suffocate everyone with surgeon's masks for a few years. Seems to be a repeating sort of a theme to what they're doing. Like I said, it's been incredible to see all the videos. Like, I live in Mexico, so everything's great. It's a lot like here in the Dominican Republic, which is also just pretty much great. No problems, that sort of a thing. Much freer, much safer than a place like the US. And just to see what's going on in the US, this is what a lot of us anarchists have been talking about for a long time, that this is where it's all headed. If you allow the state to even exist, and actually give it any authority, even in your own mind, because you can't actually give it your own authority, then it will eventually start looking like this. And they're just like stopping people on the streets all over the place. There's all kinds of videos. It appears the Ice Age, they're like this terrorist gang that just jumps out of nowhere and attacks people now. It's pretty amazing to see. And it appears like one of their favorite areas to just attack people is when they're filling up with gas.
Open the door.
They trying to menace us, bro. They trying to harass us.
Open the door. Open the door.
ICE is here. They trying to harass us.
Open the door.
Come on, come help us, y'all. What are y'all doing? Hey, back the fuck away, bitch. You ain't doing shit. What is you doing? Back the fuck away. You ain't doing shit. Back away. Back away. Y'all ain't doing shit. Get the fuck back. Back away. Back the fuck away. Back the fuck away. Back the fuck away. Y'all ain't gonna rush shit.
And here's a video, and again, who knows, right? Could be AI, could be fake, could be propaganda, could be CIA, could be Messiah. But this is getting This is getting wild. All this stuff. But according to the person who posted this video, it was a person in Florida who got pulled over by ICE on the road, which doesn't really make any sense, right? Like, but they're just out there all the time, just like attacking people. And so this person turned their phone on and recorded the conversation of the ICE agents that were talking right outside his car.
Starting to resist more now. We're gonna end up shooting someone. If you keep going like this, they're gonna start fighting. Like this kid goes like, "What's paying you? No, you can't do that. I'm not doing shit." Like we told you already to get out. You either get out or I'm gonna pull you out. Right. Yep. God damn. Woo. Nice.
Just remember, you can smell that too with a $30,000 bonus.
Yeah, yeah.
And notice they're talking about something about if they rough up people enough or something, they get a $30,000 bonus. That's on top of the $50,000 that they'll pay any ICE employee now. Like it's basically like TSA, but you get paid like way better, and you can rape and murder people way more than the TSA does, and have way less qualifications, which I'll get into in a second. But it's incredible to see how the government's giving out just massive amounts of money for these people, and they appear to be getting paid extra for like the more that they cause chaos, which is pretty incredible. And of course, you see all the left, right, indoctrinated people all, you know, remember the January 6th thing where Ashley Babbitt got shot in the face just for walking around? And all the left side was all cheering that on and saying, fuck around, find out. And now Renee Good might have gotten killed. Who knows? Same as Ashley Babbitt, that could all be fake too. And the right side people, fuck around, find out. Meanwhile, the people who control everything are just laughing at how they can so easily manipulate everyone. There's the MAGA people. No more wars. Don't tread. America first. We hate pedos. Now, more wars. Obey. Send $40 billion to Argentina. And way more than that to Israel and Ukraine. And we are pedos, which is kind of what it is. And meanwhile, as I was saying, all these MAGA type people are all cheering on that the US needs to invade other countries because of how they treat their people, which is like, okay. Look at me, I'm the deep state now. Yep, just like I said. But of course, Trump doesn't actually do anything. That's the thing, and a lot of people still think he does. Like they actually think he's making any of these calls. It's not at all. This has been known for a long time, in so many different ways. That's basically, well, Bill Hicks actually said it best.
When you win, you go into this smoky room with the 12 industrialist, capitalist scumfucks who got you in there, and you're in this smoky room, and this little film screen comes down, and a big guy in a cigar roll the film, and it's a shot of a Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. It looks suspiciously off the grassy knoll. And then the screen goes up, and the lights come up, and they go to the new president. Any questions? Just what my agenda is. First we bomb Baghdad. You got it.
You even have technocrat, globalist, controlled opposition Elon Musk. He said this just recently. Most politicians are just the actors on the stage.
The world is our stage.
You don't see the scriptwriters, directors, and producers who control them.
We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers.
And one of the most funniest parts of the propaganda of this latest ICE Psyop is that the guy who it looks like killed that woman, which may not have been real. They say that he was so badly injured from getting hit by the car, which actually, if you look at all the different angles, he didn't get hit by the car. With his giant, like, all that, like, bulletproof vests and stuff that they're wearing, and he didn't get hit by the car. And then they said afterwards he's got internal bleeding. And Donald Trump said it's a miracle he's alive. And the guy just actually walked off. He actually left the scene of the crime right after, which is fairly typical of these psyops. He's probably like a CIA guy, and that was his job, and they just left. They wouldn't let anyone near it for like hours. No ambulance people. They don't want any evidence of whatever it was. But it's so amazing how 1984 the U.S. is now. The president's ear regenerated at a rate consistent with minor injuries. Jonathan Ross suffered internal bleeding. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final and most essential command. And it's incredible, all the people that they're putting into this ICE thing. I think this is almost fair to say at this point that the chances of an ICE agent being a convicted sort of felon is higher than the people that they're attacking. Because a lot of the people they're attacking are just regular people who haven't done anything. And many of them have all kinds of charges against them. There's no background checks, which I'll get into in a second. Like, for example, pardoned January 6er, arrested for molesting an 11-year-old boy, is now with ICE. ICE agent pleads guilty to raping a woman in custody for months. An ICE worker has been detained in a Minnesota sex operation involving a teenager after allegedly claiming his job made him untouchable. Homeland Security agent charged with production of child porn. Yeah, a lot of these people, whether they're ICE or Department of Homeland Security, a lot of them are actually the worst people in the world, which is just so incredible to see. And a lot of them are like pedophiles and sex trafficker type people. And notice the Epstein file stuff has completely gone away. Like, no one talks about it anymore. They managed to just distract people long enough with so many different things that no one even talks about it anymore. Except for Nick Fuentes, who just said this recently.
Sometimes you gotta be the villain. Epstein's my boy, dude. Let's just be honest. Epstein was cool as fuck. There, I said it. What are you gonna do? Go ahead, cancel me. Yeah, I said it. Jeffrey Epstein was cool as fuck. Now what? Go ahead, cancel me. Do it. So sometimes we have to be the villain. Sometimes we have to be on a villain arc. That's okay. I'll be a little unpopular. I've been unpopular before. I like it better.
I don't know what's going on with him. It seems like they want to like just destroy him, like on purpose, and give him these lines to say. Because that's quite the take there, that Jeffrey Epstein was awesome. Of course, Nick Fuentes is a Jew. He's also he's also gay. He's also, like, he's one of the most screwed up people around. And he's also controlled opposition, of course. So he's paid off to do all these things. Well, that was an interesting thing that he just put out about Epstein, which kind of also is another way for them to kind of cover people wanting to look into the Epstein files, right? So some people still probably listen to Nick Fuentes for some reason. And they're like, oh, I guess Jeffrey Epstein was a good guy. See how they do all this stuff? It's amazing. But talking about how ICE, they're just taking people off the street. Anyone can go in. They'll give you like $50,000 almost the next day. They'll give you a gun and a bulletproof vest, no training, and just send you out in the streets to basically harass people. And this has been basically shown by many people, including a journalist who's sort of a lefty type journalist. And this is a person who's posted like very left sort of stuff against the government and the right and all this sort of stuff. So you would think, even just that, because she used a real name and everything, if they would have done any sort of background check, they would have saw all that stuff, but they didn't look into anything.
They were promising on-the-spot hiring to where you could, in fact, walk out with your $50,000 bonus that day, possibly. I went in, I handed in my resume, which was, I did a skills-based resume. I'm a veteran. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. So on the surface, the resume looked pretty good. Had a very brief interview, took all of 6 minutes. They didn't ask very many questions. And then I left, assuming I would never hear back, because I'm a very Googleable person. I have an unusual name. I'm the only Laura Judith on the internet. And I make no secret of how I feel about ICE and Trump and all of it. So I was not expecting several days later to receive a tentative offer. I missed it in my inbox and it sunk to the bottom, which means that I never filled out the paperwork they requested. I never accepted the tentative offer. I never filled out my background check paperwork. I never signed the affidavit saying I committed no domestic violence crimes, none of it. A few weeks later, I got a message from LabCorp saying that ICE wanted me to do a drug test, and I went ahead and did that. I was pretty sure I wouldn't pass. I'd partaken in legal cannabis 6 days before the test, but why not waste some of their money, right? And then 9 days after that, I decided I wanted to, I was curious, had they processed the drug test yet? So I logged onto the ICE hiring portal, and what I found was that not only did the drug test not seem to be relevant, I was listed as having joined ICE as of 3 days earlier. I had listed that I had accepted the offer. They had offered me a final position as a deportation officer. My background check was listed as completed 3 days in the future from when I was looking at it. So it seems like the answer to the question, who are they hiring, is they don't know. I mean, it's very funny that they hired a lefty journalist with a profile on Antifa Watch. That's hilarious. But what's not funny is they didn't make me sign a domestic violence waiver. So how many people with domestic violence convictions are running around with guns in our cities terrorizing people? How many people who have been committed of sex crimes or crimes against children are in charge of detention centers where there's no oversight, where people won't be missed and won't be believed? The agent was very keen on letting me know that I wouldn't be given a badge and a gun right away. I wouldn't be out in the street messing people up. I would probably have to push paperwork for about 6 months before I got there. And when I expressed that was fine with me, with my analyst background, he actually, the atmosphere changed. He was like, no, listen, we want everyone on the street with guns eventually.
Yeah, like if you like beating people up, attacking, murdering, raping, like the job for you is with ICE. Like you get to do it. You're totally, no matter what you do, you can't get in trouble. You have like no like boundaries on what you can do. And you can just walk in and a few days later be out in the street just murdering people. It's so incredible.
Did you fail the police academy but still want a badge and a gun? Not cut out for the military but still want to terrorize marginalized communities? Did you peak in junior high, both intellectually and sexually? Do you look like a toe that got stung by bees? Do you struggle to read words with more than 2 syllables? Do you have 0 skills, talents, or redeeming qualities as a person? If so, join ICE! Every worthwhile member of your community will rightfully despise you. Turn your fear, cowardice, and fragility into state-sanctioned violence. No experience required, and training only lasts 10 minutes. Ruin people's lives for no good reason. Solidify your place in the anal polyps of history. Your mail-order wife will develop a debilitating alcohol problem to cope with your sham marriage. Weaponize your self-victimhood by stepping in front of cars going 1 mile per hour and using it as an excuse to soccer moms. Serve the country your ancestors stole with pride you've never earned a day in your life. Join ICE. We'll be waiting. ICE. Legitimizing the biggest loser you've ever met since 2003.
Oh, and speaking about Trump and Epstein said Trump was his best friend for like a decade. Apparently in some of those Epstein files that were kind of blacked out but weren't, it said something like Trump impregnated a 13-year-old or something like that. So it's pretty incredible that they've gotten basically away with a lot of this stuff. And a lot of people still kind of cheer them on. And actually, one of Donald Trump's spiritual leaders, he was actually on Trump's like team the last time he was president as his like spiritual advisor or leader. He was just recently sentenced for molesting a 12-year-old.
I'm just just happy that it is over. I feel good about it.
Oh, I should say, he was not only just arrested, I think that was a few months ago, but he was just charged. And you want to guess what his sentence was for being guilty of molesting a 12-year-old? And this is Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, by the way. Anyone want to guess? 6 months. He'll probably get off early. It's incredible. Yeah, Robert Morris served as one of Donald Trump's spiritual advisors during his 2016 presidential campaign and first term in office. It's funny too how the government and the media says there's all these like cartels that are so scary and deadly and dangerous, which, you know, of course there is some, but nothing like what they talk about. Of course, they had the Cartel de los Soles in Venezuela, which was all a lie, and they actually admitted it now, that it never existed. And that was one of the main reasons they wanted to attack Venezuela, they said. Remember that. Then, of course, there's the Tren de Agua and these El Salvador gangs and stuff like that. Of course, the Mexico cartels, which actually don't look like gangs, by the way. They do in the U.S., like Mexican gangs in the U.S. actually look like U.S. gangs. There's no such thing as that in Mexico. You don't see people dressing or acting like that in Mexico. But the most dangerous gang by far in the U.S. at this moment, like they're all over the place, attacking, robbing, raping, killing people, and terrorizing people all over the place, is ICE. And if you look at a lot of these guys, like here's one. The visible tattoos on the agent's arm include a Valknut, which is interlocked triangles, and a skull resembling a Totenkopf. The Valknut has Norse origins, but is sometimes used by white supremacist groups. The Totenkopf was a Nazi SS symbol and is still associated with neo-Nazis. That's interesting. Had a lot of that in the Ukraine as well, all wearing the SS sort of stuff from Nazi Germany.
Out of the road now!
Hey, jump that bottom! Jump that bottom!
And now they're out on the streets, so they're the most dangerous gang. And a lot of the right-wing people are all cheering it on. And it's because they think they're like immune to it. And the thing is, like, yeah, they're out there doing all this stuff, but it's not affecting tens or hundreds of millions of people directly, right? So it's affecting individual people in certain groups at certain times. And so a lot of people, as long as it's not affecting them personally, a lot of them are kind of cheering it on. It's like, yes, he's getting rid of all the illegal immigrants and stuff like that, which they're really not. Like, not hardly at all. It's mostly just terrorizing people. But a lot of the right-wing sort of people are really going to feel the effects of it once the next regime's in, which could be as soon as, like, well, what they're saying is there's supposed to be midterms, which actually Donald Trump's already talked about not having in November, so still quite a ways away. But by the looks of things, it looks like a lot of more people are like, well, let's try the donkey. The elephant's killing us all again, and the donkey was trying to kill them too, but, you know, let's try the other one again in the closet. It's insane. But they'll just keep doing it. But supposedly, if the donkey people get in November into the Congress and the Senate and places like that, they're talking about basically impeaching Trump, of course, which is what, you know, they always have something like that. But if they do, what they're saying is they're going to arrest Trump and all these sort of people like that. And then watch what happens once the donkey people have this military force all over the U.S. Anyone want to guess? It'll be like gun law checking and all this sort of stuff. And then the right side people will really understand what's going on here. But it's unfortunate because they have to actually go through it, and once they go through it, they'll be dead or in a concentration camp. So it'll be too late. That's, you know, status. That's what we've been talking about for at Anarchapulco for 12 years now. We're going on our 12th year. Is about how all these things lead to this when people allow a criminal organization to have any sort of power over them. And that's really what this is. This is just the end result of decades and decades and decades of statism. The government's now grown to such a massive size Like, it's something like half of the economy now. It's incredible, the size of it. And this is just what happens as it all basically falls apart, which it is, because the US is now insolvent and bankrupt, basically, headed towards hyperinflation. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. And of course, there's way more than that. And of course, they're also out there trying to track the anti-Semites. Anyone who says anything bad about the Israel and all the evil stuff they're doing, all the genocide and stuff like that. And here's the ADL person who says they're already tracking like everything that everyone does, probably through Palantir, including their bank accounts and everything. And anyone who says anything bad about Israel, they're going to be basically going after. And speaking of ICE and Palantir, Jason Basler of the Free Thought Project said this: ICE is now using a Palantir tool to map neighborhoods and assign deportation scores in target-rich environments fed by Homeland Security data. Today it's immigrants, tomorrow it's dissidents. If you think this won't be repurposed for activities or protesters, you aren't paying attention. And it's true, the tool name and functionality is called ELITE. Enhanced Leads Identification and Targeting for Enforcement is a Palantir-developed app that ICE agents use to generate interactive maps populated with potential deportation targets. For each target, it pulls up a dossier including details like name, birth date, alien registration number, and a confidence score for the accuracy of their current address. Palantir is run by a Jewish billionaire who's insane named Alex Karp. And that's who ICE is using their apps to just target people. And he's fully on board with going after the anti-Semites. Can you see where this is all headed? You know what's so insane is how, like, they just keep pushing these things forward, and people never really get quite to the point of like fully separating from the system completely. And they just keep pushing it and pushing it until you get to a point where everyone's databased, everyone's tracked, they've got all your biometric data, they got you fenced in, CBDCs, they got your electric car, they can control that. And then if you are one of the undesirables, like me, everything just gets shut off, and they'll probably take you off to the camps. That's seriously where it's at. It's incredible. But some people are still cheering on the MAGA. I don't know who at this point. MAGA today, digital ID checkpoint, 15-minute Freedom City, hold the line for Israel. Meanwhile, the actors in Congress continue to act and just change whatever they say they believe, depending on the situation. Like, for example, Trump's been talking, well, the Trump regime has been talking about basically attacking Greenland now because, you know, he's the peace president. And here's what Ted Cruz had to say about Trump and basically Denmark, which is what Greenland is a part of. In 2016, it's pretty incredible how that's all changed.
We need someone with judgment and the temperament to keep this country safe. I don't know anyone who would be comfortable with someone who behaves this way having his finger on the button. I mean, we're liable to wake up one morning and Donald, if he were president, would have nuked Denmark. That's not the temperament of a leader to keep this country safe. We need a president who will have the back of our fighting men and women, who will have their back and will be clear-eyed and focused on our enemies, on radical Islamic terrorism, and on defeating ISIS. That's what I will do every day.
Introducing Teddy Cruz, the cuddly bear with big convictions. Dressed for duty and ready to defend, Teddy Cruz speaks 10 patriotic phrases at the push of a button.
I stand with Israel.
Meanwhile, some people are just happy. It's like, well, at least the Biden regime's out, and they're going to stop having furry parties at the White House. people are like, yeah, Trump's in now. At least there won't be furries in the White. Wait. Yeah, this was at the White House just recently, or actually I think it was at Mar-a-Lago, sorry, which is basically the second White House. Yeah, furry party. And that's like them just showing you like this much of what they do. Basically the entire thing, whether it doesn't matter which side, the entire people, the main people who control the government. Like that movie Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick, they actually, it was going to say a lot more, just so you know. Like if you look into it, it's pretty incredible. Like it was going to say a lot more. Like it turned out to be just, oh, they're having some sex parties or something like that. But it actually was like, I think going to include their pedophilia stuff and all their gay stuff and all that kind of stuff. But then they killed Stanley Kubrick right as the movie was about to come out, and then cut out all the really bad stuff. Of course, Stanley Kubrick also filmed the moon landing. So he was on the moon filming the moon landing. No, he wasn't. But he was actually the one filming what they showed as the moon landing. So they kind of took out, it was like killing two birds with one stone, you could say. Taking out Kubrick so he could never talk about the moon landing videos. And he could never talk about how they cut all the true but really horrible stuff out of Eyes Wide Shut. But yeah, that's what a lot of these sort of, the people who call themselves elites, they're into like all this stuff. And you see that now with Trump. They got the furries at Mar-a-Lago, and then the furries are just like it's nothing, but that's the kind of stuff they do. Under Biden, under Trump, creepy Mar-a-Lago event with people in dog masks blasted. So those people at Mar-a-Lago, they're fine doing their furry stuff. But if you go out on the streets in your furry outfit, this is what happens to a lot of people in the US right now. Yeah, that's from CIA-controlled opposition, Jack Posobiec. He actually released, I think, the first Epstein file binder with all the black ink. And he says, this I voted for. First of all, the vote doesn't matter. He's a controlled opposition person. But that's what a lot of people are like. They're like, yeah, I want them to just go and accost. If someone's wearing a furry outfit, go and just like beat them up and stuff like that. It's pretty incredible to watch. Oh, and I mentioned how Maria Corina Machado in Venezuela, who's a Zionist and, you know, a globalist, World Economic Forum, she's all those sort of things. And they have her in place to put her in Venezuela now. She wanted to give her Nobel Peace Prize to Trump after he attacked and bombed her country and kidnapped Maduro. Because, you know, that's what peace looks like. And the Nobel Prize people actually said you can't, because he's like bombing. He's bombed 8 countries in the last year. He's actually a big part of a massive genocide right now. So apparently she like flew to Washington just to give him her Nobel Peace Prize award. And even more surprisingly, right after that, Trump wins the Wimbledon Women's Single Tennis Championship. Trump heaped praise on Serena Williams for handing over to him her 2016 trophy prize for the best tennis Trump has done. And of course, coming up in just a few days, Donald Trump is doing the keynote address at Davos for the World Economic Forum. And here's what I'd be talking about.
Davos, we know there's the big housing speech. What else can we anticipate?
There's also going to be some look at the new world order that President Trump is creating.
It's not really a surprise. Here's from November 2025, Wall Street Journal, Trump's New World Order. Sydney Morning Herald, Revolution, stock, Trump wins, shock, Trump wins, sets up New World Order. How Donald Trump is building a New World Order. The Economist, by the Rothschilds, the Don's New World Order. It's weird. Alex Jones used to talk about fighting against the New World Order all the time.
All I can say of the New World Order is you're never going to win in the end. You need to give up, scum, because we're going to get you.
And now he's cheering it on. It's amazing. It's incredible to watch all this. And Trump's not the only person talking about the New World Order. You also have Mark Carney in Canada, who was the Bank of Canada which is the Central Bank of Canada director, and he was also the Bank of England Central Bank director, because it's like you just switch it like it's baseball teams, and you just go from team to team or something. And now all of a sudden, and of course he's good friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, and now he's like the crime murderer in Canada. And here's what he had to say recently.
Mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Yeah, and he's got to play his part too. He's standing up to all this stuff. It's kind of funny because he's basically saying that Canada is going to defend Greenland from the U.S. Well, one of the worst, most embarrassing moments of my life was when my mom signed me up for the Naval Reserve right after I got out of the government indoctrination camp. And I saw the inside of the Canadian military. Yeah, those guys, no offense, like there's probably some guys that have been in it or in it, they're like, you know, pretty tough guys or whatever. But no, Canada's not going to defend Greenland from the U.S. But that's what Mark Carney says they're going to do.
The future of Greenland is a decision for Greenland and for the Kingdom of Denmark. We are NATO partners with Denmark, and so our full partnership stands. Our obligations on Article 5, Article 2 of NATO stand, and we stand full square behind those.
Yeah, all these actors, all these chaos, and these criminal organizations just keep stealing from everyone, destroying everything, destroying the economy, making people sick, trying to kill them like they did during the COVIDs, and they still do with the big pharma. And people still don't seem to notice.
Everyone thinks the future is about innovation, AI, smart cities, green energy, but that's the cover story. The real future is about reducing the human surplus without a single bullet fired. And the system that is being built makes it look like progress. In the old world, humans were assets. More people meant more labor, more soldiers, more taxpayers. But technology flipped the equation. When automation does the work, people become liabilities. They consume resources and they produce nothing. From a corporate state perspective, they are dead weight on the balance sheet. Now, what happens to liabilities in any system? They are minimized, quietly, efficiently. You don't announce population reduction. You don't draft policies that say, time to eliminate 800 million people. You design the environment so people self-select out of life. First, you control food economics. Make real nutrition a luxury. Flood markets with synthetic hyper-processed calories. Why? Cheap to make, addictive to consume, and lethal over time. Obesity, diabetes, cancers. It's slow-motion euthanasia disguised as personal choice. And then you privatize survival systems. Hospitals, medicine, insurance. Turn health into a product, and when the bill comes and you can't pay, nature takes its course. No violence, no fingerprints. Meanwhile, you flood culture with distractions. War headlines, influencer drama, ideological cage matches, so no one notices the algorithm that decides who thrives and who quietly disappears. People think they are arguing politics, but in reality they are debating inside the zoo enclosure, while the zookeeper holds the keys to their lifespan. This isn't genocide. It is market-driven selection, a corporate Darwinism where the unprofitable simply phase out. And the punchline? They don't kill you. They invoice you until you die. This is the most profitable extinction in human history. and is happening in slow motion while everyone thinks they are free.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it, how they do all this, and most people, like, none of these people know. They have no idea of all this stuff being done to them. It's incredible. That's all right, though. It's just a 3D video game. But you're seeing so many people getting wiped out in the West, especially like Canada. Like hardly anyone can survive anymore. They can barely afford food. So the government's actually killing everyone. They've got a plan to kill, I think it's something like 80% or 50%. It was like a huge amount.
So the Journal of Death and Dying recently this year of 2025 came out and expressed what Health Canada's plans look like to save money. They are on track starting 2027 to 2047 to save $1.273 trillion by providing 14.7 million Canadians with MAID rather than palliative care.
What was that number? Say that?
14.7 million Canadians.
It's like some huge amount. And no one in Canada has even talked about it. But basically the government's like, yeah, we're going to kill off most of the population in, the next few decades here. And I think it'll be a lot faster than that. You've got like 26-year-old guys going in saying they feel a bit depressed, and they just kill them there right on the spot before the family even knows about it or anything. It's just incredible. And the U.S. isn't all that much better. There's so many people just barely surviving. They're like almost everyone, like not everyone, but almost like the majority of people are just living barely paycheck to paycheck. They're one paycheck away from just bankruptcy and living on the street. But a lot of them, actually believe the government propaganda on the television.
Everything's so damn expensive. I got nothing but air in here.
The president has announced that prices are now lower than they've ever been.
I'm so glad my president is bringing prices down.
Mind control is so wild. You can have people that are like, yeah, I live in the land of the free. It's like, have you looked outside lately? And what forms are you filing every single day? And all the taxes and the police states. But they believe it because they've been told that their whole lives. It's just like living in North Korea. Living in the U.S. is just like living in North Korea. And it's very similar. And I actually shouldn't say too much about North Korea. I've never been there. I don't know if anything they say about it's true. I don't know. But if what they say about it's true, the U.S. is a lot like that. There's a lot of people now, the television is telling them, the prices are all down, even though they see less and less. And they're like, oh, great. Like, mind control is amazing. You gotta love mind control. It's so incredible. I remember when Trump said he was going to send out like $2,000 checks from his tariff tax, where he was taxing anyone in the U.S. who tried to import anything. Well now, and this is actually from a New York Times interview, there's no video of it, but they actually released the transcript. He actually said he can't remember promising the American people $2,000 tariff checks. Yeah, kind of just forgot about that. That's another thing they always do. Have you noticed that? He'll come out and say something like that. We're going to put out $2,000 tariff checks. And all the MAGA people all get all excited. And it just doesn't happen, and they forget about it. They do it all the time. It's incredible. They're so good at what they do. But you can't fool the markets. And the markets know that all the fiat currencies, the central banks, all the governments are insolvent at this point. And you can't fool the markets. And silver has been going unbelievably well. Like, I think I bought my first silver coins around when they were like $5 a coin. Actually, my grandfather used to give me silver coins every year for Christmas. I think I still got them. I don't know what they were worth in like 1974. Probably way less than $5. Although I don't know off the top of my head. But anyway, I bought some around 5 to 10. And then quite a lot between 10 and like 25. Actually, I was gonna buy more. But when it was only like $10 or $20, if you bought a large amount, like we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of silver coins, it would take up half your room. And you couldn't move it. Like, it's so heavy. And that's actually why I didn't buy more. I was like, it's just too much and it's too heavy. kind of regretting that now, because here's what it's selling for on the US Mint site now. $173 an ounce. And someone put this out like a few days ago when basically silver was trading near $100 in many different places. The $1 bill is now officially the new $100 bill. So yeah, those silver coins used to be denominated at $1. Now they're trading for $173. So when people are like, Jeff, when's the dollar going to collapse? It's like, it's already been collapsing. like it takes a while to get to zero. Zero! But when a $1 silver coin 50 years later costs $173, what's the loss on the value of the currency at that point? 99.9 something, I'm gonna guess. But you really should subscribe to our newsletter. Like, we're heavily into gold, silver, and Monero, which has been skyrocketing. It was up about 300% in the last month or two, I think. Pirate Chain was up 100% in the last week or so, I think. These are all the stuff that are in our TDB portfolio, along with the gold and silver mining stocks, which have done even better than the precious metals. And those gold and silver mining stocks, in my opinion, are still heavily undervalued. Who do you hear talking about buying gold and silver mining stocks? Very few, like Peter Schill, which I have to say, remember when I said a few years ago, there's gonna come a day where he's right. And that day has come now. And I said it's gonna be irritating. And I was correct on that too. He's just obnoxiously posting about how right he was. But I knew that was actually the case. I knew that gold and silver would not stay where they were. And that it would eventually, actually, I said this in the Dollar Vigilante newsletter numerous times over the last year, that I expected that it's very possible that the precious metals and the precious metals mining stocks will outperform cryptocurrencies this year. And they did massively. Except for Monero, which is also like a big part of our portfolio. So you're kind of insane if you don't, like, seriously, subscribe to our financial newsletter where we tell you all this stuff. We release 2 issues a month. They're about 60 pages each. They're best read on a iPad, just so you know. They're like incredibly designed. We've got a whole team putting them together. It's a huge amount of work. And we put out all this stuff, including recommendations and what kind of portfolio that you should have and stuff like that. And we've probably been the best performing portfolio of any financial newsletter out there by far in the last few months. Like, I can't imagine anything can beat our heavy holdings in silver and Monero, which are up 300%, both of them in the last month or two. So you're kind of crazy. You should subscribe. dollarvigilante.com/subscribe. Like, you really, like, you'll get some information in there that could make you fortunes or could help you save you from losing fortunes. And it's so incredible to see all the stuff happening in this matrix. And how they've been, like in that video earlier, it talked about how they're just making people sicker and sicker and dumber and basically killing them slowly. And that's what's been going on. And of course the vaccines have been a huge part of that, which of course still is going on with the Trump regime, with RFK Jr. No big surprise at all there. But so many, like the autism rates are ridiculous. They basically massively damaged most people now in the West with the lethal injections and the chemtrails and the fluoride. It's incredible. Like, this is basically a democide. And no one really recognizes it because it's happening just slow enough. And people are just fluoridated enough that they can't notice for the most part. But it's gotten to the point now that Barbie has just released its first autistic Barbie, marking a milestone in the toy industry. Yeah, that's quite the milestone. It's the launch of the first autistic Barbie, a move that reinforces the representation strategy the company has pursued in recent years and aims to address a reality that has long remained on the margins. The new fashion doll comes just 6 months after the debut of the Barbie with type 1 diabetes. According to the World Health Organization, more than 1 young person in 100 falls within the autism spectrum. I think it's way more than that now. I think it's like 30 in 100 or something. It's like almost everybody. The doll's design is built around functional and symbolic elements, a slightly averted gaze, echoing the avoidance of direct eye contact, more flexible joints to allow repetitive movements, a fidget spinner for sensory regulation, noise-canceling headphones, and a tablet featuring symbol-based language support technologies. The clothing also follows specific criteria with loose fabrics and soft lines designed to minimize tactile discomfort. I had to check that at least 3 times. I thought, well, this has to be like an Onion or a Babylon Bee story. No, I checked like Mattel's website, and yes, they've got a type 1 diabetes Barbie now, because so many people have that from all the destruction of all the food in the West. That's why people are getting so obese now. You just see these huge bellies on them now. It's a lot of the seed oils and a lot of the other stuff. It's basically all poison that most people eat. So they got their type 1 diabetes Barbie, and now they got their autistic Barbie who averts eye contact and wears their noise-canceling headphones because the noise bothers her. You can't make this stuff up. This is the most incredible 3D video game experience ever. I can't believe any of this stuff's happening. I can't believe I'm watching it happen. I can't believe I'm talking about it, and your average person, well, they'll never hear me talking about it. But even those who do, they'll just like, they won't get like 90% of what I'm talking about, and they'll kind of hate me because basically what I'm saying is they know inside is pretty close to the truth. And, well, your average person
Can't handle the truth.
So then they hate me. It's incredible. Anyway, well, everyone's getting autistic Barbies now for their autistic kids. Hopefully you're not injecting them with poison. Hopefully you're doing lots of things to try to keep that stuff out of you. That's what you got to do if you want to survive this apocalypse. That's, like when I'm at home, I do a sauna every single day. It's about 15 minutes, not a lot, but enough to get a sweat going, so I sweat out anything that might have gotten into me. Now, I live in Mexico where I don't see regular chemtrails, so I'm way better than most people. If you've got chemtrails, and if you're not doing a sauna every day and a coffee enema, like, goodbye, basically. You're not going to be around all that much longer if you're not getting this stuff out. A lot of it's got the nanotech. Now they're bringing the 6G. They're going to start actually controlling you via the nanotech and graphene in your body that is put into you, a lot of it from the chemtrails. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. So you got to get that stuff out. And of course, there's other ways to get this stuff out. Dr. Anna Mahal just talked about that. Things like EDTA and high-dose vitamin C, she says. She'll be speaking at Anarchapulco, by the way, virtually, but live. And, you know, we can even ask questions and answers and stuff like that. She'll be talking about all this stuff. Also, Ryan Belly will be talking there. He talks all about this stuff, the nanotech and all that sort of stuff. So, like, if you can't make it to Anarchapulco, I highly recommend you get the virtual access to it. You can watch it live, but you don't have to because it's like a week. It's a major, major, major undertaking and event that we do once a year. We try to get all the best speakers in the world to all come in one place for 1 week. And people will be talking about the nanotech, how to get it out, all that kind of stuff. So go to anarchapulco.com if you're not coming, and subscribe to the virtual ticket now so you don't forget, because this is going to be like, if you don't know a lot of stuff, this is like life-saving sort of information from all the best people in the world. And of course, consider coming as well. We still have about a month until the event, a little less than a month now. And there is direct flights from all over the place to Puerto Vallarta. You can find hotels still in places like Puerto Vallarta for definitely less than $100 a night. A lot of those flights from like the US and Canada stuff, sometimes they're just a few $100s. So if you're a little tight on funds, you know, just look into it. It's not as expensive as you might think. You can just eat street tacos the whole time too, and that's like $5 each time you eat. Maybe a bit more now. Mexico's getting a little less cheap than it used to be. But it's going to be an incredible event. So many incredible people coming. Gonna have Aya May performing. That's so awesome. Like, she got her record label dropped her when she started saying the truth in her songs. And she's also gonna be speaking at Anarchapulco, by the way, about her experience doing that. It's gonna be incredible. Highly recommend you come if you can. Of course, we're gonna be doing 5-MeO DMT, ayahuasca. Christoph Melchizedek's doing a boga, but that's already sold out. The ayahuasca will probably be sold out soon, just so you know too. There's just a few tickets left for some things, like the Super VIP. So Super VIP is like you are treated like you're a billionaire, basically. Like that's kind of how you're treated. Like you're picked up at the airport. There's someone who's always basically with you, helping you do whatever you want, like a concierge type person. You get so many incredible things. You stay at like a 5-star hotel at the Westin in Puerto Vallarta. So I highly recommend if you have some money, and you know a lot of people have made quite a bit in the Monero and Silver in the last few months. If you want like a super luxury experience, go to Anarchapulco and look at the tickets and look for Super VIP. There's also some VIP tickets still left, so that's a little less. They won't pick you up at the airport. You don't have a full-time concierge, but you do get incredible stuff, including like gourmet meals the entire week from an incredible chef who's like super excited that he's working with Anarchapulco.
I am Chef Mauricio Leal from Icur Restaurant in Puerto Vallarta. It's an honor to be part of Anarchapulco, a space where vision, creativity, and freedom come together. At Icur, we cook contemporary Mexican cuisine using local 0 kilometers ingredients, working closely with producers and letting the season guide every dish. Today, I am excited to share this philosophy in the VIP section. Bold Mexican flavors, refined technique, and an experience created with intention. Welcome to Anarchapulco, Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, highly recommend it. So many incredible people. Christoph Melchizedek's going to be there. Stu Peters going to be there. Max Egan, of course. David Icke speaking, although virtually. Gareth Ike's going to be there. So many incredible people. Go check it out at anarchapulco.com. Highly recommend it. I always hear, by the way, every year, right the day before the event, I see at least 5 or 6 people go, I just decided to come just now. I'm looking for flights. It's like, don't wait till the last minute. You know, you don't have to do that, but hopefully we'll see you down in Anarchapulco. We're going to have an incredible week. Oh, we're going to also have a poker tournament on Monday night, which I'm looking forward to. There's going to be so many incredible events in Anarchapulco this year. Anyway, the party's going on here. Let's leave it.
So I was asked to discuss what has me so excited about Anarchapulco and Puerto Vallarta this year. I guess I would say it's probably because of my first experience last year with Anarchapulco in Acapulco, Mexico, when I was introduced to a group of people who are not getting together to bitch, to moan, and to complain and to whine about the problems that we face. Private equity firms, the central banksters, oh my gosh, the demonic agenda, the oppression, the occupation of our government. Instead, this is a group of people who get together and discuss solutions, that put solutions to work, that implement solutions, that are serious about solutions, and that's my language. So I'm looking forward to seeing you this year at Anarchapulco in Puerto Vallarta.
Freedom in the breeze, ocean's hymn, no chains, no pleas, no rulers, no kings, no scripts to recite, burn the old book, let the phoenix ignite, rebirth on the sand, where the rebels convene, a genesis scene, mind sharp and keen, dollars to dust, trust in the soul, Anarchapulco where we break the mold, Anarchapulco where the spirit flies, new dawn, breaking under open skies, no masters, no limits, no chains to choke, this is freedom's fire, Anarchapulco spoke. Acapulco where the spirit flies, new dawn, breaking under open skies, no masters, no limits, no chains to choke, this is freedom's fire, and Acapulco spoke. Beach bonfire starts spark like flint, ideas ricochet, no permission, no stint, borders dissolve, minds expand, every soul sovereign, every mind grand, no contract signed, just a handshake truth. Ancient wisdom reborn in the fountain of youth. Rules crumble like castles at high tide. Revolution lives where the dreamers reside. Golden horizon, the birth of the free. Echoes of laughter, the waves decree. Freedom is anthem, a beat in the chest. Anarchapulco where the restless rest. Anarchapulco where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fight, and Acapulco spoke. Anarchapulco where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fight, and Acapulco spoke.
With performing artist Ayame.
I don't need a muse or anything to do. Probably just get canceled 'cause I'm singing about the truth. Feels like we're getting wiser, don't you? Since the lies that feed the world, now nobody trusts the news.
Anarchapulco opening party on February 15th. Anarchapulco Genesis, February 16th to 20th. The Dollar Vigilante TDV Summit, February 21st. The Crypto Vigilante TCV Summit, February 22nd. Agorapulco, retreats, and other excursions, February 21st to 27th. Bufo and other plant medicines with Bearheart throughout the event. A special Iboga ceremony with Christoph Melchizedek from February 23rd. 2 Tesla plasma healing devices will be running throughout the event. Thanks to the Tesla Club. Bring the whole family. The Anarchapulco Family Camp runs throughout the event with activities for non-lethally injected, free-range, unschooled pure souls. Anarchapulco 2026. Genesis. Puerto Vallarta,